Hey guys, Jordan with TYT and TYT Politics. I am in Flint. I've been here for the last few days. You could watch some of the videos that I've already done at youtube.com/TYT Politics. We have mostly interviews with residents that have been affected, and I think once you watch those videos, you're going to be able to see very clearly this is still a crisis, and it's never stopped being a crisis. I think what's different about my second trip here, I reported first at the end of August here, is now I'm kind of learning a little bit more about what was really behind the lead poisoning. And that is essentially a privatization scam in order to try and force poor black and white people out of Flint, the working people that were the hallmark of Flint. In the 1950s, 60s, 70s, what we used to call middle class, but as Bernie Sanders has so expertly pointed out, is pretty much disappearing. So go watch those videos, youtube.com/TYT Politics. I'm here with Tony. We're in your home. You are a resident. You've lived here all your life.
Yeah.
And you, like everybody else, have been so tragically affected. First, I just want to show the audience. Tell me about when you first realized something was wrong, and you obviously have visuals to show us.
Sure, I'd like to, but first of all, I'd like to state, this is still a problem, folks. Don't let them lie to you. Don't let them bullshit you. This is still an ongoing problem, and I think it's a major cover-up. Back in 2014, we started getting funky water, and this is it. They wanted us to drink this, saying everything was fine.
So there you go. You see the black particles in there. That's lead and whatever other bacterias are in there.
Yeah, let me state that also. They found the lead and copper problem as it goes now through Scott Smith and Wayne State University, who's come in.
Speak as loudly as you can.
They found more than one chemical besides lead and copper. We got a list, a 52-page list from Scott Smith, who come in on his own to help us figure out what's going on. Wayne State come in, also did that. I would like to give Mark Edwards credit for the lead and copper, but we're moving on from that.
So let me just say, Mark Edwards was the original guy who came in
Virginia Tech.
From Virginia Tech, and they found that there were high levels of lead in the homes. Since then, a little questionable, but really what the state and what Virginia Tech and other outlets that have been testing, they've been testing for lead and copper. They have not tested for anything else. What people don't know, and the media hasn't told you, is to clean these aging, corroded, shitty pipes, they've been putting in buckets and buckets of phosphates, chlorine. What that has done is create bacteria. So I was just in a home the other day of a resident. They got chloroform in their home. Other people have other bacteria in their home. Michigan, the state, and these other outlets, Virginia Tech that has tested for lead, they have not tested for bacteria.
Now hold on, I can't say that's true. I think Virginia Tech might now be doing it.
They weren't.
Okay. From my point of view, I'm saying they might be. So,
okay.
With that said, Mark Edwards, no offense, this may not be true from me. I don't know. Okay. I know one thing. Come on in here, Leah. Scott Smith had started testing water heaters. Nobody else even thought of that. Melissa Mays and the Plumbers Union, Harold Harrington and Ben, this group went in and started testing from the outside in and the water heaters. God bless them. A lot of other things we find in this water, it's not just lead and copper. So with that said, this happened in 2014, and some people had worse water than this. The CDC come in, and we met with them at the library, and they're saying, all right, well, what's going on, la, la, la. Well, I showed them these bags of hair. This was the first, this is what I lost, and this isn't something that I cut. This fell out of my hair, and it's nasty. And when I showed them this,
that's hair.
Look at this. This is January 18, 2016. When I showed him this, a week later I got a phone call. And the guy from the CDC said, Tony, we're pulling the trigger, we're coming in. Well, I had learned just not too long ago that actually Snyder had stopped them.
And this is when Snyder was still saying he was not made aware of a problem with lead.
Yeah, and there's a lot of email that's conflicting that. I mean, there's some enclosed door meetings. These groups that are meeting without any residents. This is my bitch. Why isn't the residents involved all the way through this? You could go to these meetings where the uppers are getting this grant, or this money, I say grant, funded money from the state. It's United Way, the Community Foundation of Flint, all these groups, there's 35 of them, then they drop it to 100. Where's the residents in that?
So what he was just saying, there's a broader point that the media has kind of covered, but not a lot. Just like the residents are not aware or in the meetings for this recovery, they also weren't asked or issued a vote to vote for emergency managers that started years ago. Essentially, Governor Rick Snyder fucked up the state through corporate tax cuts, wealthy tax cuts. There was huge debt. The city's fallen apart economically. This used to be a hub for the middle class, for auto plants. Like Republican policy elsewhere, they pretty much destroyed it through corporate welfare and huge sexual favors to the wealthy. And oh my God, there's an emergency. We can't pay, our city's falling apart. So Schneider brought in an unelected emergency manager, and that emergency manager was pretty much the top dog that decided, let's switch off the Detroit's water.
Well, it was more than just a emergency manager. Let's go back to all four of them. Somewhere down there, they all four fucked up. You see what I'm saying? Started taking assets, taxable assets, meaning that me as a taxpayer, I'm going to end up paying more. They're giving this shit away. You know what I'm saying? Without any vote or anything. This streetlight tax and all this. They tax us for streetlights here, folks. $92 a lot that we own. I own 9 lots. It's ridiculous. And then this money goes to a master plan. They have a master plan for the city, and I'm telling you right now, the fucking residents aren't involved. They don't want us here. We are just a burden to them.